Hi everybody, I'm Anneke from Annette Tirette, and I've been tagged by Hannah from A Nieuwe Jurk, or A New Dress, to make a video for the sewing cafe. The question was, what is in your sewing machine drawer? And as soon as I saw that she had tagged me, I sort of panicked because I'm a messy person, and this mess sort of extends into my sewing life. So I think I've lost maybe half of what was in this sewing machine drawer initially. This is my sewing machine. It's still my first one. I got it from my parents about, I think, 5 years ago, because my mom thought it was so sad to see me hand sew everything, and I was just sort of messing around with it, and then having a sewing machine made everything quicker, and I basically rolled into making clothes. At first I had no idea whatsoever what I was doing, but then I sort of started to actually look up things about sewing before I started something, and that really helped. So yeah, it's a Janome Service 521, and I can really recommend this machine to people who want to start sewing, because it's not very expensive, but it's pretty sturdy. It's a bit of a workhorse, and I mean, I've been using it very often since I got it, and it's never given me any problems. I've sewn denim and wool coating, but I've also made like silk and very lightweight cottons on this, and yeah, it works perfectly. Now onto the drawer. Let me see. There's lots of dust in there, so I should probably clean this. There's a few bobbins. I keep other empty ones somewhere else. There's a few with some thread left on it. I tend to use it if I have some thread in my bobbin left over after sewing, doing all the sewing machine stuff on a project. I try and use it up by hand sewing, so you don't have like 20 bobbins with spare bits of thread lying around. Then we have this little thing, which is meant to be used when you want to use 2 spools of thread, but I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. Never really needed to. Then there's a few sewing machine feet. There's a blind hem foot, which I've never used to actually do a blind hem because I do all my hems by hand. But it's very good. It doubles as a sort of edge stitching, top stitching foot, and it works pretty well for that. It's a bit trickier on bulky fabrics because it's only a plastic thing here, and you can change the position, so it's a bit wobbly sometimes. But on shirts and everything, it's perfectly fine, and you get really straight top stitching. The day I discovered this was a very good day. Then there's a buttonhole foot, but it's not the original one. It's not even mine. I borrowed this from a friend because I lost mine, accidentally threw it away, which happens from time to time because I have a little bin next to my sewing table for threads and clippings, and I sometimes, if I don't put something away right away, I just wipe it into the bin, and if I don't notice it in time, it gets tossed out. So that's how I lost my original buttonhole foot, and I borrowed this from a friend and still haven't given it back, so I probably should, or just buy her a new one or something. I'm sorry, Miki. Then there is my regular zipper foot, which is pretty useful. On the off chance I do use a regular zipper, I tend to favor invisible zips because I like the way they look. But I still use it to close up the seam after inserting an invisible zip and to baste it in, because I find inserting an invisible zipper accurately way easier if you just sort of stitch it in first with a regular zipper foot, so it's secure before you start using the invisible zipper foot, which is this one. And I know they sell these sort of plastic universal zipper foot feet types. They sell them at the shop I work at, but I tried it once and I just ordered one from the internet. After that, it didn't really work for me, and if people in the shop ask me if they're any good, I just advise them to order one because they're really not that expensive. I think this was €5 or something. But it works a treat. I mean, my zippers look tons better right now. And then there's the final foot that came with my sewing machine, and for some reason I have no idea how I ended up with this one, but I have two of them. They're completely identical, and I don't know how I managed to have two, but it's a buttonhole foot as well, but I've never used it because it's described in a manual as a buttonhole foot for sewing buttonholes in tricky places like cuffs, but I've never had a problem. Hey, there's a cat. It's just looking at me. Get someone's food. Anyway, I've never really had a problem. Maybe on children's clothing or things with much smaller bits, they might be useful. But anyway, I have two of them if anyone wants one. Since this was going to be a pretty short video with me just looking at the mess in here, I thought I'd share 3 other notions that aren't in my sewing machine drawer, but they're pretty damn important for me. One of them is actually a pressing foot as well. It's my walking foot, and it's a bit fiddly to install, but again, it's a generic one. It wasn't crazy expensive, but it's really, really great if you want to match up fabric. It's a bit fiddly to install. You need to unscrew some things, but I don't mind that, and once you get it working, it's brilliant. First time I used it for sewing plates, it was just so perfect. I had to show it to my boyfriend, like, look what I did. And so if you're thinking about getting a walking foot and you sew a lot of stripes and plates, do it. It's great. Another thing I really like is my beeswax. Again, it's an incredibly simple thing, but it makes things so much easier. If you hand sew a lot, and I do, I like to attach my linings by hand. I like to hem things by hand. It's just one little thing you do. You just get your thread through it, and it goes through your fabric so much easier, and it doesn't tangle as much as that. You're supposed to press the thread after getting it through the beeswax. I mean, if you're really couture doing stuff, and if you have too much beeswax on your thread, sometimes it leaves a little residue. But again, if you press it, that's gone. So I don't really do that because I hand sew in the bed most of the time. I don't want to get up every time I take a new bit of thread. But again, it's a very simple and cheap thing, but if you don't like hand sewing, give it a try because it makes it a lot easier. And the final thing that I really like is seam binding, which is something that's a bit hard to find in Belgium. I mean, I've never seen it in shops before. It's a very fine rayon ribbon basically, and you use it to encase a seam. It gives a very soft, non-bulky finish. But it's very pretty because you have no raw edges at all. And it's pretty cheap. It's 100 yards for I think less than $10. There's a few shops, online shops that stock it, and like one roll lasts for ages and ages and ages. I mean, it takes a while to finish 100 yards of seams. I usually use it on the straight kind of seams, like side seams in a bodice and seams in a skirt, but it works on slightly curved edges as well. It's not a bias cut. It's a bit stretchy in ways, but it's not a bias cut ribbon, so it doesn't curve as nicely as bias tape, but it's far less bulky. And that was it. I'm a bit of a basic person when it comes to sewing gadgets and notions. I basically just trust my scissors and pins and everything and the normal stuff. But yeah, this was fun. I hope it wasn't too boring for you guys. So, bye!